Hey everybody, Andrew back here with Nashville Severe Weather with Elin, and we may have a couple more join us as the other guys get notifications and such. Have a new severe thunderstorm warning here. This is for the storm that's been up in Davidson County for a little while now, and there's a core in this thing, a specific core, and Elin was talking about it earlier off the chat or off the air here a minute ago. There's a kind of see as we look up in the storm, there's a nice core that's built up in the storm here at about 25,000 feet, and it went even higher than that a little bit ago. And let me get back to our regular view here, and that core is pretty strong, and the Weather Service thinks there could be some severe weather in that, and winds up to 60 mile per hour and quarter-sized hail with that storm that is riding right along the western border of Davidson County and is right there along the border of Davidson and Cheatham. So Tom is joining us here. Hey, Tom. We're back here with this this warning here that covers northern Davidson. So we've had sort of the extremes today. We've had extreme southern Williamson County, and then we have also had northern Davidson County. So other than that, most of you have not gotten much in the way of strong weather yet. A lot of lightning out there. We've been talking about the lightning off the air over here between our streams a moment ago. Just there's a ton of lightning with these storms. And so that is something that is really has been a very interesting part of this storm. So I'm adjusting my mic just a little bit. Luke is helping me out over here. I don't have any audio meters, so it's a little hard for me to tell what my mic is doing. So he's helping me out there. So I'll adjust it if he needs me to adjust it some more. So severe thunderstorm warning here in effect until 8:45. This is until 8:45. It is 8:04 right now, so this is about a 45-minute warning. We've been on the 45-minute to an hour-long warnings here tonight. This storm could be around for a little bit just because it has so much of Davidson County to go through. Could take it about 45 minutes to get through and affect areas like Baxter Road, Coopertown Road, Joelton, Ridgeview Estates, and up toward Bakers, and up toward Luton's, and up toward Ridgetop up in Robertson County, and maybe as far south as Goodlettsville. Goodlettsville definitely going to get some rain out of this, and probably some pretty heavy rain. And all the way down, of course, Beeman Park, heavy rain now, and downtown even some heavy rain. The bulk of the lightning appears to be right now north of, let's say, right along Clarksville Pike to the north, and kind of right along the Old Hickory Boulevard corridor at the northern side of Davidson County. That's right where kind of the heaviest lightning concentration is right now. And earlier it was just kind of all over the place, man. It was just a ton of lightning with this thing. And right now it's sort of concentrating back around Beeman Park and right around the the Brawley Parkway area on the northwestern side of Davidson County. So that's what we have now. So again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 8:45. This is our second warning of the day for us. This is, we had one down in extreme southern Williamson County earlier, covered mostly Murray County. It was mostly a Murray County thing. Those storms have since really fizzled from where they were earlier. That's kind of what it looked like earlier. And then they have really fizzled. And now most of the energy is up here along and north of I-40. Who'd have thought? So, and then, of course, over to the east, we ended our stream last time talking about this storm that was up over the Kentucky border. And that sucker's a beast. It is a beast of a storm as far as hail, strong winds, went right through Jackson County up there. And that is a beast of a storm, but so far not seeing that down here. So it looks like mainly if you were to experience severe weather in Davidson County, I would say it probably would be in the form of hail. We're seeing some gusty winds, but nothing that's crazy right now. Let me check Hopkinsville. Yeah, it's not really seeing a lot either. Maybe a couple little downbursts there, here and there, but yeah, a couple little downbursts here and there. So every once in a while, you might get able to push a wind out of this thing. But it looks like it's probably a hailer. This is another one of those sort of marginal storms that is better to warn it than not, but it could produce some occasional 60-mile-per-hour winds, but the core on this thing's pretty healthy, could drop some large hail, and that's really the main thing out of this one. Not seeing any tornado threat with this.
Stepping back and looking at some of the updrafts from further away, it's really the core is going to go right over that I-24 corridor along Cheatham-Davidson County line, and then on up towards Ridgetop, where we know most severe thunderstorms end up going to Ridgetop, unfortunately.
Ridgetop's the hail magnet up there. They get they get a lot of wind and hail up that way, it seems like. And they usually come from Jolton.
Right.
So Jolton usually gets it first. But this is right over top of Marrowbone Lake now, popular fishing spot up there. So right over Marrowbone Lake now, coming into Jolton, crossing I-24. It'll be up around Baxter Road, Coopertown Road, Ridgeview Estates, Ivy Point, Greer Road, Ridgetop, Bakers, up that way. So it's going to, the further it goes, it's going to be more in that extreme northern Davidson County part of the area, which is right as you go up the Highland Rim, is right there on the northern edge of Davidson County. You get up in the more rural hills and creeks and hollows up there, right up there in the northern part of Davidson County, right as you go up the Highland Rim. So that's where this storm is going to be. And it's going to put down some heavy rain, some hail, maybe some gusty winds. Yeah, it looks like there is a decent little hail drop there. So right around Marrowbone Lake and just to the west as you cross over into Cheatham County, that's indicative there, right in the heaviest, whoa, nice positive strike, shake at my house. Right here in the heaviest reflectivities, right there's some hail falling, right there around Marrowbone.
Yeah, we had here in Germantown at least 10 minutes of continuous lightning. There was no pauses between strikes. It was just like a strobe light going off.
Really something, yeah. The lightning has been really something with this. That is for sure. Let me check a couple of text messages. That's my daughter texts me. She's at her friend's house. This lightning is crazy. In fact, let me see. Let's see where that hit. Hasn't shown up yet. Oh, looks like it was up in the, yeah, wow, that was a very strong strike. Yeah, those of you over in Cane Ridge just got rocked, especially right around the Pettis Old Hickory Boulevard intersection there. Yeah, that was a very strong strike. I'm several miles from there, and that was a decent jolt. All right, so let's go back up here to our severe thunderstorm warning. Healthy core there, sitting right on the border with Cheatham and Davidson, and dropping some hail, 100% dropping some hail, for sure dropping some hail. Size to be determined. Most of the hail in our storms around here have been relatively small. I think we got maybe one quarter size hail report earlier, but somebody says almond size hail on Valley View Road. Almond size, Valley View Road. So still healthy in the latest scan. Now crossing Highway 41 alternate there. What I can't remember the name of that. What is that highway that runs up there?
Which one?
The one that parallels 24 goes up to Clarksville.
Clarksville Highway.
Is that Clarksville Highway? Is it called Clarksville Highway up there? I guess it is. Yeah, good deal. All right, what's this latest that's come out from the Weather Service? It's like a new special weather statement. Okay. Sadie asking about is the storm past Vandy? Yeah, I mean it is. You're kind of on the southern part of it. It's just kind of hugging the I-40 area, 440 area right there around Vanderbilt. So it's I guess past Vanderbilt, kind of, but it's off to the north. Still some heavy rain there though. Melissa is asking if she can have our autographs. Melissa, we want your autograph. We know Melissa, and we would love to have Melissa's autograph. So let's just trade. Let's take yours, and then if you still want ours, we'll give them to you. Melissa's a friend of ours.
There's storms in Wilson County, so she can harass us.
Thanks for being here, Melissa. All right, so this you're seeing some boxes show up here. Let me sort of explain what the boxes are here. The red box is it's just our lightning boundary. This is where we get high resolution lightning data. Don't worry about the red box. The yellow box is severe thunderstorm warning here. It's outlined in northern Davidson County, northwestern Davidson County. The white boxes that are showing up are special weather statements. These are the Weather Service saying, hey, there's some strong weather in here. Inside these boxes, they're not worthy of a warning. The storms aren't worthy of a warning here, in most cases. But you know, some gusty wind, maybe some small non-severe hail, and that's about it. So that's what the white boxes you see coming up are. But if we take those away, we can sort of still see. Still see our warning here. So here's the main show. Is this yellow box here, and that's our severe thunderstorm warning. So the main core now has pushed into Davidson County. If we go up in the atmosphere here, that's quite the core, and right over Bidwell Road. That's kind of just right over your heads there, about 23,000 feet. Still a very healthy core with it, and probably some decent hail coming out of that storm as well. Looks like a couple of places here where there's hail falling, probably some in Joelton, and probably some back to the west still around Marrowbone. A little bit shows a little bit less than there was earlier, but I think there's probably still hail falling up there. Tom, we were talking about that front earlier.
Yeah.
What have you noticed about that front? Is it still hanging around here? It looks to me like it's a little bit harder to find at the moment with these storms rolling through.
Yeah, I mean, the front and or outflow boundaries over Kentucky kind of pushed down into Middle Tennessee over the last couple hours. If you look up over Kentucky, the air is considerably cooler up there. So I do think that is the cold front pushing in. But we're seeing all the outflow boundaries from that stuff back over Lewis and Murray and areas to our west earlier. That's actually kind of pushing that boundary back a little bit to the north as you get west of Nashville. It's fascinating to watch. That doesn't happen a lot. But that cooler air is surging in, but now it's kind of got the brakes thrown on. But looking at the weather observations over Centerville and south of Franklin, it's really worked over down there. Temperatures have dropped back into the 60s where all those storms occurred. So there's just a narrow little sliver of instability left that extends, basically along and just north of the Interstate 40 corridor that hasn't been worked over, and where the boundary still has some instability to work with. And that's where we're seeing everything go gangbusters right now. It's just in that little narrow swath that's still unstable.
That's a great point. And here at my house, it's 69 and a half outside. So it's my air temperature here in Nolensville. So, yeah, of course, it's been raining here it's light rain, but it's been raining here for the past hour. So it's just, it feels kind of worked over out there, as you say.
We decided to rush and walk the dog before the lightning and all that got here. And it was still in the low 80s here just like 30 minutes ago. So it was a big difference as you get up here in Nashville. And then now we've gotten some outflow and it's cooled off. But there was a lot of instability left in a narrow little slot there.
I'm kind of curious. Let me look and see. Did they get a weather balloon off tonight? It looks like they did. Let's see what it... throw you a curveball here, Tom.
Yeah.
What does this show? Well, we still there was plenty of Cape down there at the time.
About what the guidance was showing us. Some of our mesoscale models indicated 2,500 capes, and we're seeing 2,500 and change.
Right down the middle.
Base cape. The more effective mixed layer cape is still over 2,000. So there's plenty of instability on that balloon that went up. So all it took was a little boundary. In fact, once the sun went down, that's when things really went boom here just west of Nashville. And we see that occasionally. But yeah, there's a lot of instability to work with. You can see there's some wind shear. Those winds go from southwesterly to westerly in the lowest couple 10,000 feet of the atmosphere. So that's enough to impart a little bit of rotation on the storms and a little bit of enhancement to their updrafts. So all that came together. And the cape it's not a skinny cape. If you look up, the middle part of that sounding, there's a lot of area there between the
weeds alert. We're getting in the weeds. This is good. If you like weather, this is good.
But that's what I see is that's a pretty juicy sounding.
Right there. That's a lot of energy right there.
Energetic sounding, and we're feeling that outside right now with all of the lightning and thunder and all that energy is being released. Thousands of atom bombs going off out there in the atmosphere right now. It's a lot of energy being released.
Well, speaking of that energy, it's we've got a severe thunderstorm warning still in effect up here for northwestern Davidson County. You notice, as Tom said, we've got these storms that have sort of lined up along I-70, Highway 70, kind of west to east here. And we've got this kind of narrow place here where there's still energy available that we saw on that weather balloon earlier, which was taken from up here in Old Hickory. But that sort of atmosphere still remains kind of out here along Highway 70 and I-40. Now, further south, those parameters are probably a lot different. A lot of rain down there. It's been worked over well. The energy has been released down there. And so the storms don't have quite the push down here as they did earlier. In fact, they just completely melted over here toward Cannon County. So still some energy available up here, clearly up here around Joelton. And that's where the severe thunderstorm warning remains until 8:45. And the storm now, the strongest part of it is right there in Joelton, right there around Bidwell Road, right there around Whites Creek Pike, I guess it is, that goes north. It's Highway 431. And that's going to be up near Baxter Road, Coopertown Road, and up toward Morgan Road and Wilkinson Road. So right in those areas, just north of 40, that's where the heaviest rain is. That's likely where the hail is falling, and that's going to be pushing over toward Ridgetop. Oh yeah, Core got going a little bit better. I bet there's some decent hail falling there now, right there around Ridgeview Estates and Ridgewood Road, Appleview Road, Ivy Point Road. All right, so you're getting right up there in the hills as you kind of transition from the Nashville Basin up to the Highland Rim. It's exactly where this storm is, and probably making a lot of noise up in the trees there in northern Davidson County. So this is, again, right there on that border of Davidson and Robertson, and probably a lot of hail falling. This is probably very efficiently producing hail. Probably not large. It could be sort of as we saw earlier, almond, marble size, hail, maybe smaller peas, could be quarters, but clearly some hail falling up there now around Ivy Point. So let's head over toward Baker's, over toward Ridgetop, over toward Luton's. Shout out to my my friends there at the Baker's Market up there, right in the path of this thing, up there on the highway between Goodlettsville and Ridgetop. So that's what this severe thunderstorm warning is for. The severe thunderstorm warning is for this little area right here. That's it. And once that's gone, you're good for a while. So let's check back to the west again. Still got more rain that's developed just in the past little bit. It's kind of back building a little bit into downtown Belle Meade, Bells Bend, coming into the Nations, Bordeaux. So still some heavy rain down there. Let's check on the lightning. Yeah, still some lightning with it too.
Little more of a wind signature now too up in northern Davidson. You can see kind of the microburst.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So right here, we talk about the reds and greens coming together, and they can come together in different ways, and it's significant how they come together because it can determine whether we're talking about rotation or we're talking about a microburst. So right here is clearly a microburst signature. So the radar is down here. It's shooting a beam up here. And what it sees wind going this way, and it sees wind going that way. These are winds going away from each other, just like that. So this is a microburst right here. And what probably, I bet you, that is a wind-driven hail right there. That is probably not pleasant. And it's probably very loud right along Ridgewood Road. I bet they got a bunch of hail up there along Ridgewood and Union Hill. And there's probably a bunch of wind with it too. So that's right there at Union Hill, Ivy Point, hail, wind, and is probably not pleasant at all. So microburst there. So now if that red and green were turned 90 degrees, then would be looking at rotation. But just because of the way it's oriented to the radar, it's clearly a microburst. So just to show you a little bit about what we look for.
When I train spotters, I would always use the analogy of take a garden hose, turn it on, and point it down the driveway, and the water hits the driveway and just spreads out.
Excellent.
That's what's happening. A gush of cool air is hitting the ground and spreading out to all directions. But you can the radar only shows you towards and away. But
only two, right?
It's going in 360 degrees, but we can only see the towards and away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great analogy. Yeah, the garden hose being sprayed right at the driveway. Exactly. And that purple right there, that core, it's part of that core that was up in the storm 20, 30,000 feet up is kind of coming crashing to the ground. Mm-hmm. So that's your stream of water coming out of the hose hitting the ground is that core coming down in a hurry. Sometimes that means the storm weakens after that. Sometimes that means that the core just sort of falls out of the storm and it's lost that support. And so the storm just kind of comes crashing down and it'll subsequently weaken over the next half hour. Not sure if that'll happen in this case. It's awfully close to that boundary. That could keep feeding it. But definitely a core coming crashing down with this one.
The updraft itself is continuing to move on to the northeast. Looks like it will here before too much longer be up in Sumner County predominantly. And probably we'll see the warning expired a little bit early. Because you do, like I said, it's continuing to move off to the northeast pretty steadily, but interesting to watch.
Yeah. Boy, there's some heavy returns on that new radar scan. Yeah, clearly some hail falling now right along Greer Road.
That's one of the better hail signatures we've seen tonight right there. That's probably at least quarter sized.
Bring it over here where I can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, still a good little microburst signature there. So 8:45, about another 15 minutes on this warning. Again, those of you up in along, let's say Baker Road. Let's see what else is up there. Freeman Hollow Road, Union Hill, Ivy Point. The roads are a little more spread out up that way, but you folks, maybe even as far south as Lower Walker's Creek, Licton Pike. You folks, some of you, if you don't, your neighbors might get some of this hail. It's and even as you cross Highway 41, even as you cross Springfield Highway, as you get over into some of the neighborhoods closer to I-65, so Tennant Road, Williamson Road, Galemore, Baker Station goes over there across, on both sides of Springfield Highway. Really, anywhere you see this purple here, that's going to be a decent hail core, probably some decent wind.
Do we have a second to take a look upstream?
Sure. Well, that looks colorful.
Yeah.
This is out. This is back around the Tennessee River and just west of the Tennessee River.
So what I'm
that's all
noticing is
developing.
that storm over the Tennessee River has kind of coalesced and gone north-south. And that storm north of Centerville has picked up its intensity a little bit, although the wind signature isn't that great. And
Has a good core though.
Huh?
Has a good core though, and that'll be heading toward. That might actually end up being one of those right movers. In the last like two scans, it looks like it's kind of turning more east southeast.
And I bring it up not because they're particularly more intense than what we're seeing in northern Davidson, but more to illustrate that we might have this going on, as Elon said in the blog earlier, a lot, most of the night, right? Through midnight at least, right? That's what that looks like to me.
Yeah. And it just sort of depends on when we sort of lose the support. Earlier today, the Weather Service said that they believed that things would start to die off as it got later in the evening, as we lost the sun. There's an awful lot of boundaries running around, and that can kind of help, even at night, can kind of help support things. So it's going to be interesting to see. At the moment, I mean, you go back a couple of radar scans here, and you can just sort of see how things blow up just in the past half hour. But it's also sort of trending more to the north. So it's a very dynamic situation. It's just we're just going to have to see how it evolves. I mean, there's not really a great forecast to this as far as which storms are going to die off, which ones are going to keep going. And
looks like they canceled the warning.
Okay, yeah, warning gone now. Okay, all right. So that's good. I sure hope those microbursts weren't too strong up there. A lot of trees up there. So anyway, all right.
We'll get some reports in. So far, no damage reports, no large hail reports.
Okay. Well, talk about reports, Will, just for a second before we go, and talk about different ways to submit those.
Yeah. So if depending on how you consume our content, if it's on Instagram, you can send us a DM with a report. If you're on Twitter, you can send us a report using hashtag TSpotter. What we're really looking for is hail larger than a quarter to validate the severe thunderstorm warning that we had. Also interested in seeing any damage that you might have. Trees down, tree limbs down, power lines, etc. It looks like that while that storm has weakened, it was pretty intense there for a while, especially northeast of Jolton, where that microburst signature came in.
Yeah, there's actually there is a massive power outage in Franklin right now. A lot of you saying you've lost power in Franklin. So 10,800 customers without power in Williamson County.
Andrew, I don't see. I mean, I'm not seeing anything that, weather related that would have caused that in the last 20 minutes that came through.
We've had a ton of lightnings. I don't know. That may have been lightning related.
It could be. I doubt that it's wind related unless it was something that happened earlier that just got worse.
Yeah,
I suspect it was lightning. There were some really big positive strokes, and those can, if they hit the wrong spot, they can.
Right.
Yeah, these were all about 825. Yeah, these were all reported 825. There's probably the substation probably took a hit in Franklin.
Yeah.
So yeah, 10,800 customers. That's no small number down there in Franklin. No. That's a lot of customers out in Franklin. So, yeah, likely lightning related, but hopefully that's something they can get some stuff rerouted, get most of you guys back on pretty quick. Yeah, that's very big for Middle Tennessee Electric. They tend to handle storms pretty well, and they'll be working on that one pretty fast. But while we're here, let's just check NES before we go and see what you folks up in Nashville are dealing with. Looks like about 200 customers. So. And most of those over there in Antioch. So, okay. Well, hope you folks in Franklin charged your phones. Have mercy. But with numbers that big, that's a very big number for them. They'll get right on it. All right, let's jump off of here, and we'll be back over on socials. And who knows? We may be back a third time.
Might be back later.
Somebody asked me earlier. They said, "Hey, are we expecting one of these nights like we had back in April?" I was like, "I don't know." I have seen that happen one other. In my 40 years in Nashville, I have only seen that happen one other time. So no, I am not expecting an all-nighter like we had back in April. So, all right, y'all be good. We'll